This podcast is just fun. It's all fake. Don't believe us. Look, do your own research.
I'm now vertical. I'm not tipping my head anymore.
Welcome
To
the show.
yeah!
Phil, your voice is a little deeper.
Yeah. I'm more manly than Phil.
Your mustache is a little darker. Your beard is a little lighter, though.
Yeah, my beard is a little
A
lighter.
little darker.
This week we got our special guest, if you guys might remember him from a few weeks ago.
It was a
Camden.
while ago. Yeah.
Dude, I am so bummed you didn't get to join us for the Matrix episode because
I did so much research on it too.
Dude, well,
for
I will
nothing.
say we've found. Well, I think we have enough in the Matrix that we'll do a part 2. And
Yeah.
so my thought process is we'll wait until either a break or till summer, and we'll do the part 2 with you because.
Yeah, because I
there
even
was-
had some stuff when I was
Yeah.
listening to it that popped up that I was like, man, I would love to have brought this up. And
I probably only went through half my notes
Because I found so much research on like just the idea of the Matrix existing and such.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
I found an entire like research paper on it.
Yeah.
It was like 1,000 pages long.
yeah,
Dang,
people are fascinated with that whole
Yeah.
idea, and it was so new and innovative when it came out. Nobody had
Dude,
that
it was-
idea hadn't even been out there
Yeah.
yet. You know,
But yeah, no, we'll definitely do a part 2. So keep your information on that. We'll do a part 2. That's the cool thing about the show. I just, a professor from the college here at Shatner State, asked me to come in and teach a class on the like writing process for a podcast.
Yeah.
It's actually a really cool opportunity. But I went in and so I was just like, I can come up with like 10, 15 minutes worth of information.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I prefer Q&A.
Yeah.
Because if you've got students who are actually interested in doing a podcast, I want them to have a chance to ask me questions
Yeah.
that they need answers to rather than me just telling them, here's how we write our podcast.
I just had this crazy idea because we're always looking for new and innovative like leadership type things at my school and like to get kids involved and like show them there's a bigger world than just what they've seen. Mm-hmm. It might be kind of fun to have you come talk about a podcast and even like we can get special permission from parents or whatever and do like a podcast, a short or something.
Maybe we could
let
do-
them put together a show and,
Yeah.
and see what it's like to talk on the mics, and
Yeah.
that might be kind of fun. I don't
Yeah.
know. We have to talk about that.
It's a
could-
unique experience for
and,
sure.
and if they want us, we could either release it as like a special episode
Yeah.
or maybe it's something that's just you share with
yeah,
the families.
and it
that
could be
isn't ever
just
get
just
released.
amongst us,
Yeah.
or
That'd be cool. I'm down.
something just so they can see how easy but yet complicated and everything, just that intricacies
Yeah.
of it, but that anybody can do this.
Oh, yeah.
If you're passionate about something,
Yeah.
you know,
It can be as complicated or as simple as you want it
yeah,
to be.
definitely.
That, I mean, with these
That'd be
days, the back when I started podcasting,
Yeah.
because I have the sermon podcast that I started like 10 years ago. Back then, it was way more complicated. Now, you can literally just download an app, hit record, and it'll create like an intro for you,
Yeah.
like a beat and stuff, and then you just post it, and it's like done.
Yeah.
Like, bro, that is the
I mean,
amount
they'll
of
even
effort.
they'll even script it for you and everything, and like what you're going to talk
Oh,
about.
man.
And
Yeah.
I mean, it's as easy or as difficult as you want to make it.
Back in the day, man,
But
it was
that'd be
way
I think
harder.
that'd be a fun experience for a bunch
Yeah.
of middle schoolers.
I would be down.
Yeah.
But so I got the chance to teach that class, and shout out if any of you guys are from that class and you're listening, shout out to you guys. That was actually really cool. And you guys, I was actually really impressed with, and I don't even know if the teacher would want me sharing her name or not, but, the teacher, I messaged her afterwards and I was like, dude, I actually was really impressed with the questions that class asked.
Yeah.
They weren't just like, oh, what's this? You know, it was like they were actually really well thought out. Like they were good questions, and a half hour went by in blink of an eye.
Yep.
But one of the questions that was asked was back to Camden. One of the questions that was asked was, after doing 75 episodes, like, how do you come up with topics? And I was like, yeah, that becomes the most difficult part.
Yeah.
I was like, back in the day, we would do like 4 topics per episode. And about 50 episodes in, we realized we can't do that. We need to have 1 topic per episode kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, and sometimes it'll go over several episodes just because there's so much information we want to share.
And so I was like, what we've learned is that. And then the other thing is sometimes just revisiting an episode, we've got enough people. We've got 75 episodes in now that if somebody picks up the show right now, they might not ever listen to all of the rest of the episodes, no matter how much they love the show, because 75 episodes is a lot of time to dedicate to listening to a podcast. And if they only listen to a podcast a couple hours a week, they're never going to be able to go back and listen to those episodes. So going back and doing part 2s that don't seem like part 2s, that you kind of give a refresher, but then you also dive into new information as well, I think is like really, really smart to do for a podcast. Yeah. So all that said, I think The Matrix will definitely be that for us. I think we'll go back into, that might have been my favorite to talk about episode.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily my favorite episode.
That was my most frustrating one because I've looked so much into it without having to, because it always fascinated me, the idea. And it was frustrating for me because I had so many things that I was like, oh man, I could have talked about this and I wasn't there that week. And it just came down to being sick and it happens. Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to start off with was we have a Patreon. Woo, woo, woo. Shout out to the Patreon subscribers. Yeah. And I want to give credit because I have to. The first Patreon supporter was also our biggest Spotify listener.
Yeah.
Red. Yeah. Was our first. And so he's a good dude.
Oh, the more I get to know him, because I didn't know him before the show.
Yeah, he's great.
The more I get to know him, he's a great dude.
He is.
Yeah.
But I hit him up. I was like, dude, when first merch drops, I'm hooking you up on us, because you are huge in supporting us. But yeah, we've had multiple people sign up, and if you don't know, so what we're doing with our Patreon is you get the episode the moment I finish editing it. I immediately upload it to Patreon. And so you get early access to the episodes. You then, on the day that the episode normally comes out, which is Wednesday mornings, you get a bonus episode. And those bonus episodes are going to be a lot less filtered. You know, for example, the bonus episode for this week, just as a teaser, we kind of dove in a little bit more into some of the Epstein stuff. We talked about Case for Christ and like the mathematics, and somebody plugged in the Bible to Grok.
Yeah.
And Grok responded in a wild way. Mm-hmm. And so that's just a teaser for the Patreon episode for this week. But you'll get the Patreon episode on the day. So it's not like all of a sudden Wednesdays aren't going to be important to you anymore, because now you get the bonus content on Wednesday. Yep. And you also can subscribe to the Patreon for free. But the free content is basically going to be, I'm going to post like news updates and that kind of stuff, and maybe some images. A lot. The free Patreon is going to be very similar to what our Discord is.
Yeah.
So if you don't like Discord, you don't want to use Discord, but you use Patreon and you want to get the same kind of posts and the same kind of updates, like the free Patreon will probably be pretty similar to like the generic episode list that we have for our Discord. And there'll be a little bit of content. So feel free to join the Patreon for free. You just won't get the bonus content or early episodes. But with that, let's open our energy drinks. I'm really wanting to try this thing. Okay, so the lore of this energy drink, it's the Lando Norris Monster. It's a new one.
So funny story.
Tell the story.
So I see these at the gas station. I had not seen these because we had just done the strawberry shot, the little strawberry whisper.
Shout out Shannon.
Dude, that video is so funny.
I forgot. I'm going to post.
Goodness,
Shannon, with your permission, I might post your video you sent me. in the Discord or the Patreon, because that was hilarious. But
I
anyway.
was on the mission to find one of those just because I was like, I'd seen it and I hadn't tried it yet. And I was like, I want to try this thing. And I walked in and they have this thing and it's got like leopard print on it and it's Lando Norris flavor. And I was like, Lando Norris. So I take it back to the school.
Sounds like a Star Wars
It's during a break and I went and grabbed. That's what I thought too. So I take it back to the middle school with me and I was like bringing it in and I'm there and I'm standing there and the school librarian is standing there and the PE teacher. And I'm talking to the PE teacher and he's like, Lando Norris, who is that? And I said, I don't know. And then the librarian walks up and goes, oh, Lando Norris, F1 racer, right? And I was like, huh? And it really demasculated me for a second.
Oh, man.
And but I just don't watch F1, so that's my excuse.
But
it feels like when you think you know sports,
right?
And then the librarian comes by and outsports you.
Yes,
that's because hurt my feels for a second, but
because they're also read better than you and smart.
Darn it. Anyway,
it's like when the nerd beats you at basketball.
Yeah. You lose a 1-on-1
that's But you texted a picture to our, because
that was weird.
Thread. You texted a picture that you bought it, and at the same time, your son Caleb, he had bought it, and he's like, "No way!" And he texted a picture back.
Yeah, he was like, "I was just going to send you this picture of the new monster," and he's holding it with the same hand, and it looks like an AI. It looks like the background's different because we have the same hand. Holding the same way and everything. That was weird.
That was funny. So then
we figured we were at the gas station at the same time buying the same monster in 2 different states.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, because your pictures came through. On my end, it looked like you texted them basically at the same time. And then, so then I felt left out, so I AI'd it, and you could tell it was AI, and AI'd it, and then, but then we shared the story in the podcast thread, and then I don't know if Phil actually was like confused or what, because he's like, please tell me that's AI, and I was like, no, that's actually mine. Look. And then I was like, and then I changed the name at the top to Google. And
it just says Google.
He's like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just moved on.
Legit AI though, because I thought you ran out and bought one real quick for real. And then I realized, I was like, oh, time out.
That was so funny. And then I was like, I just needs Google flavor.
Google flavor. So Monster, if you're listening, Monster people, you need a Google flavor.
Google flavor. I'll send you the markups of the design.
We've got flavor ideas.
But yeah, Phil was like, I don't know if that's
spicy mango.
Oh man. Oh yeah. Also on the Patreon, I did want to shout out Insane Labs again. We tried their new Extreme. A dry scoop, and we're all hopped up on it. You can tell you're benefiting from the energy.
Yeah,
that slowly built over the Patreon.
Scoop, and I
did a half scoop too. It's legit.
It's good and steady. It's not like it punches you and then drops you off. At the bus stop.
Good stuff. And we also, I'm officially an ambassador for Insane Labs. So I can't give you the discount code this week because I'm working with them to try to change the code, but in the future, hit me up if you're thinking about buying any sort of like protein shakes. Dude, their protein is legit, and I can get you a fat discount on it now. So hit me up if you buy protein pre-workouts. They have stuff like, it's called Krampus, which is electrolytes and stuff like that to prevent you from cramping up. Yeah. Their whole theme is like,
I'm intrigued by their veins.
Insane
veins.
That stuff.
I hear stories. But I'm intrigued. I don't know anybody who's tried it.
I have some, and I can let you try it. Okay. It's pretty legit. So it's
all pumped on the way home.
Well, Insane Veins, it's a non-stimulant like pump pre-workout basically. It's cool. So if you don't want caffeine or stimulants, but you still want a little bit of an effect, or if you're going on off cycle from pre-workout. But anyway, I'm hyping them up now because I am actually an ambassador. However, you guys have heard the process. I just like their company, and I've been begging them to make me an ambassador. And now I am. So subsequently, the podcast is. But all right, I'm going to open mine. You going to open yours?
Yep.
Are you opening yours?
Oh, I forgot. Here it is.
You forgot you had one. Oh, Cameron, what are you drinking over there?
I got a Voodoo Grape Monster.
Voodoo Grape. Oh, what is that? Is that... Okay.
That was my first reaction too. I was like, it's very floral.
It's good. It's almost like, I know it's not cucumber, but it's cucumber-esque.
Yeah.
Cucumber adjacent.
It's very fresh.
Fresh. That's a good word.
It's melon. When I looked it up, I had to look it up because I cheated. Melon and yuzu.
What is yuzu?
Yuzu is like a Japanese
Whozu?
Like yuzu, little Japanese lime, like a key lime, but from Japan.
Interesting. That must be the cucumber-esque flavor. I would bet.
Well, maybe
because melon. No, I can taste the melon.
The melon is definitely there, and it's not
melon
like,
is definitely there.
It's almost like a honeydew melon, not like a cantaloupe or a melon. It's definitely not watermelon. It's definitely like a honeydew melon, like a green melon.
That is tasty.
It's good. It's crisp and it's like refreshing. Yeah, I like it.
145 milligrams of caffeine. Yeah,
so not crazy.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? I will say this though. Ever since I've started getting Insane Labs products a little bit more lately, I pretty much, my energy drink consumption has decreased a lot, which I think is good because it's saving me a lot of money. But I love energy drinks.
I do too.
I
was talking to my boss the other day about it, just saying, you know what?
I can't give them up.
I just feel lost all day if I don't have at least one energy drink. I have to confess too with the dust. I'm now vertical. I'm not tipping my head anymore. I realized.
You just throw it back.
Just naturally, it naturally evolved.
So you got better at it.
Naturally evolved into straight up popping it on my tongue. I don't throw my head back anymore.
Do you hear that, D&D?
I don't know. It was weird.
We got another one.
It was weird because I was a throwback forever. But to keep it under my tongue, this is the science behind it. To keep it under my tongue without it going like down my cheek or like getting on top of my tongue, I put it right above my teeth. I put it right above my teeth, give it a little tap, and then I can keep it under my tongue.
That's what
And then it's not. Then I'm not tasting the beta alanine and stuff. All I can taste is the meat.
When I dry scoop a pre-workout, I tilt my head back because it's a bucket.
Yeah,
and I don't want it under my tongue because it is weird tasting under your tongue because it's pre-work. It's not meant to be dry scooped.
Yeah,
but the dust. And the Demented and the Cinnamonic.
As I've evolved as a duster. I want
the flavor. Yeah.
As I've evolved as a duster, I found the other day, just naturally became a not throw my head back person. So
because I want it to stay under my tongue.
Yeah.
Yep. Shout out again to Insane Labs.
In the ancient days of giants, when the earth was wild and free, a creature roamed the valleys, cloaked in mystery. Is he born of angels' blood and man, a Nephilim so tall, or a shadow of the fallen, yet heeding the Maker's call? He's a biblically accurate Bigfoot, with a lineage from the skies. Not a myth or legend, but a truth that never dies. Is he a remnant of the Nephilim, a titan standing tall? Or does he have the word of God upon him, the last to hear the call?
Let's do our Bigfoot affirmation of the day.
Camden, what's your prediction for the Bigfoot affirmation? What's it going to have to do with?
I got no
I'm guessing a journey.
Okay. Guess a number, 1 to 100.
A number.
1 to 100.
I'm going to say 44.
I'll do 45.
Oh, you guys had the 4. It was a Kobe. 24.
Okay. All right.
Be the wonders others seek.
On your journey. Mm-hmm. I just about a journey.
Yep. So you could be right. Oh my gosh. Be the wonder.
Be the wonder.
So be mysterious. Wear the weird hat.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Be the wonder. Be the person that people look at going, what is wrong with that dude?
You know, when I was a kid, I always kind of wondered about like older people and like, why are they the way that they are?
Yeah.
And as I get older, I realize that like, because you start realizing that conforming never made you cool.
No, not at all. I tell my middle school kids
conforming wasn't cool.
All the time I tell my middle school kids that.
You think you were cool because you fit in, but fitting in made you a nobody.
You know who taught me that?
You were
You know who taught me that? Crazy enough is my daughter Macy when she was 5 years old. we were taking her to school, and she said, "Dad, I don't understand why people see themselves as ugly or why they hate themselves." And I was like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Because all those things that they hate about themselves are things that someday somebody's going to love about them." And I was like, mind blown. She was like, like if you have a crazy laugh and people are making fun of the way you laugh, someday somebody's going to love your laugh.
Right.
Somebody's going to point that out. You know what? I love the way you laugh. We don't like normal. We don't fall in love with boring.
Right.
We fall in love with those weird, quirky, if you have weird eyebrows, somebody's going to be like, "You know what? I love your eyebrows."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
People love different. Yeah. And so I think we discover that, organically. But yeah, that was crazy to me that a 5-year-old at the time understood that.
Right. Yeah, that's true. I will say, I think it's easier. I don't know. As somebody who stood out a lot and I never fit into groups very well.
I was the same way. I fit in with everybody, but I wasn't anybody's priority.
I was like a chameleon, man. I was in every group and I fit in perfectly, but I was never in any group. I wasn't
never the first one they'd call on the weekend. I was never like the one they made sure was at the birthday party. But
right.
But I was friends with everybody.
But yeah,
everybody
I had
knew I
friends
was.
with everybody.
Everybody loved me, and they, but at the same time, I wasn't anybody's priority.
Right.
Which was a weird feeling.
Yeah.
Growing up. But yeah, I agree.
Absolutely.
We're kind of the same way.
Yeah. Very much so. But as I've gotten older, I've kind of realized that me desiring to fit in, that was a lot of energy.
Yeah.
I didn't need to invest.
And I found out the harder you try, the harder it is to fit in.
Yeah, you just do you,
and
man.
Who cares, right, Camden?
Yeah, pretty much.
Just grow the mustache.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do the thing.
Grow the stash. Be the man.
One of these days, I will grow my beard out.
You should.
I want to see what you.
I want to see what a beard looks like on that face.
Does it connect?
You are such a handsome devil, man. You just
does the mustache connect?
Yes,
dude. Shoot, before you were 30, that's your dad over here. He didn't connect until he was.
Mine still doesn't connect.
I was gonna say I started going bald before his mustache.
I have to shave because it keeps trying to just go down.
Yeah.
So me and my other brother, we joke around that it's our
my
bloodlines.
Connecting ones are really long.
that were part of patchy. It's a patchy here and it's a patchy here and a patchy there. It's a terrible joke. Terrible joke.
But you can make it because you're Mexican.
and maybe, maybe a little patchy.
Yeah, right. Maybe. True.
I don't know what my native side is, but yeah. Yep.
Oh, man. That's what just racism.
Oh, my
Making fun of people. This is going to be a good episode.
It's because Phil's not here.
Oh, man. Exactly. So, current events. You guys watch Super Bowl?
Yes.
I don't.
It was a boring Super Bowl.
Did you watch the commercials?
Yes.
Did you find anything weird about the commercials?
I've seen theories about the commercials and I completely dismissed them because they are a stretch.
There's one commercial that I disagree wholeheartely on.
All right, which one?
It's the one with the guy that looks identical. Not the Nerds one.
Okay.
Because the Nerds one, they say kind of looks like Jeffrey Einstein.
Yeah.
There's one.
Talking where it's supposed to be Neil Diamond?
Yes.
Have you looked at an old picture of Neil Diamond?
I have. But have you looked at a picture of Jeffrey Einstein? He looks more like Einstein than Diamond.
I disagree.
I
think if you want him to, he does. But it's one of those matrixing.
I didn't know what I was looking at, and it was a side by side, and it had that guy in the middle, Neil Diamond on the left, Einstein on the right. I didn't know it was Einstein. I didn't know it was Neil Diamond. It just popped up, and I was like, oh. These three pictures look very similar was my thought process.
Right.
And then the caption was like, who do you think this looks more like? And I was like, I think it looks more like the guy on the right. And I scrolled down. That was Einstein.
Right. And I knew right away what they were trying to do when I saw one similar to that. I don't know if it was the same one, but I knew what they were trying to do. And I knew right away that was old Jeffrey. And that picture they chose for Neil Diamond wasn't even the same age era as what he was supposed to be portraying in the thing. I don't know. It seemed like a stretch.
I would say the one that I saw, if the Einstein wasn't there, he looked very similar. It wasn't it was literally 3 iterations of the exact same.
Everybody looked like that.
Right.
With the butterfly, butterfly collar and the same feathered hairdo. And I mean, it's again, I'd ask myself why? What would be the purpose of them doing that and making it? And it's a fun little theory, but I'm like,
why do the Ritz Island one? That one was weird.
That is a weird one. Yeah.
I just and then the nerds one I felt like was weird too.
Yeah.
And okay, outside of the current events, I never thought twice about any of those commercials.
Right.
They were very normal commercials. Yeah. They were weird, but they were very normal.
Yeah. So on the flip side,
I'm thinking if I'm somebody who's creating a commercial and I'm going, hey, I'm going to do a Neil Diamond commercial. The last thing I want it to do is look anything like Jeffrey Einstein. And so I would go out of my way to make sure it didn't corroborate. So like doing Ritz Island. No, we're not talking about an island right now.
Yeah.
I'm not like we're going to not talk about an island right now.
I get that.
You know what I'm saying?
But again, if none of this was in the news, would you have thought twice about any kind of connection between those? Probably not.
Right. But this is literally like world changing news right now.
Yeah.
Like, have you looked at some of the stuff going on overseas? It's totally different. I know we talked a lot about Einstein during the Patreon episode, but that actually is, and we're not going to dive into it on this episode because that's a Patreon exclusive content because I don't want to get banned anymore. And so that's the one good thing about the Patreon is the crap that I want to talk about, I can just talk about because they can't ban you for talking about it on Patreon. And so I don't have to mix names and say Einstein, but maybe next week we'll talk a little bit more about it. But like, yeah, worldwide, there's like people who are like working for the president and like who are in the list and they're fired. And it's like, it's actually legit.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And then you've got the stuff going on with Iran. Have you seen that?
Nope.
That they created a Baal statue and then lit it on fire.
Oh, no, I haven't seen any of that.
So the weird thing about that is the prime minister of the country that is Abrahamic that is not Muslim in the Middle East. We'll just say that. The prime minister of that country, he came out and said that it was them declaring war on them.
Huh.
And I was like, why? I don't understand. I still to this day I do not fully understand what he's talking about. Because why would them setting fire to a Baal statue be a declaration of war? Because you don't worship Baal.
Yeah.
Baal was actually the one that your ancestors were very adamantly against you worshiping.
Right.
So why would that be a declaration of war? Or was it, unless like, I guess, I don't know, the one thing that my thought process went to is like, in those cultures is like setting fire to it like an honor, or is it I wouldn't think that it would be an honor. That doesn't make sense to me.
No.
So,
because they were very against like tribal, like when burial, by burning and things.
Yeah.
That historically. So maybe that was it. Maybe they were like representing that they were getting rid of. I don't know. I haven't seen any of that stuff.
Yeah, I do. I want to, we published the redaction in the Discord, but I do want to say that we talked about the Mamdani being in a picture with Jeffrey Einstein. It actually came out after we recorded last week, but that's kind of the nature of like recording podcasts and then putting them out 6 days later.
Well, and like current events are always shifting and changing.
So,
but
we did have a listener reach out and said, hey, that was AI. I looked it up. Sure enough, a few days after it was like a day or two after we recorded, it did come out that it was AI. So we would like to professionally redact that statement. But so also I was watching a documentary on the low gravity thing.
Right. So
the Y-Files did something on it too.
I noticed that.
The Y-Files did like a hypothetical.
They did a couple of episodes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But again, all of this comes back to, and what we talked about on the episode, and I've gotten some criticism from it because people are like, no, NASA never put anything out. There was whatever. When I originally researched it, I had that file with me, but it's been redacted.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the file doesn't directly talk about, when you really look at the file, it doesn't say 7 seconds of disappearing gravity. That's not what it says. It's a wave. It's a wave coming through.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes. Yeah, you're right. The Briggs, whatever. I can't remember. Whatever particle it is, hitting the particles of Earth. And that's going to cause, because those particles, the
the force around those particles that they recently discovered in CERN. They discovered those particles, and the little force field around it is what creates mass and gravity. And that wave is going to cause those to shut off for a second, for like 7 seconds. Is what they were predicting, that it's a wave coming from an exploding star. And I was like, that science makes sense. Yeah. Which is scary. Just like shutting off gravity for 7 seconds doesn't make sense.
Right.
But when they do the analysis of there's a solar wave coming through from a distant star that is going to shut off the very thing that creates mass and gravity within the particles for 7 seconds. Scientifically, I got to think maybe that makes a little more sense.
Yeah. So when I originally looked through it and I read it and then I read comments about it, I will be honest, like immediately without actually looking into it very much, I just was like, this is a quick thing. I'll just throw it on the show. We're not going to talk a lot about it. Move on. And we kind of joked about it. We talked about possible theories of what could cause it.
Yeah.
But then after the fact, after people were like, no, NASA never posted anything, I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what I was looking at. I went to go look back and now we can find that now there's more information about it, but definitely a fun one that I would like to look into a little bit more and do maybe a deeper part.
Yeah. And it's funny how often our little particle science and quantum physics and things keep popping up as explanations for otherwise very spiritual things, I suppose. And again, I always say it, like, just because you can prove why it's doing it doesn't make it any less divine, you know?
Right.
Because that would blow my mind if that actually happened. But, yeah.
Okay. Then another current event. Red actually reached out to me. Do you remember when I was explaining the flash? Like when I was taking the trash out?
Yeah.
So Red messaged me. He's like, I've had that same thing happen. Then, did you see the video I posted in the Discord?
Maybe.
There was a couple and they had their normal camera running, their security camera running.
Yeah.
And then there was just this weird like flash that like went from like left to right really quick.
Yeah.
It was like it literally how I explained it.
Yeah.
And they posted and they were like, we don't know how to explain this. It was weird. There was nothing. There was no pop of electricity. The power didn't go out. The power didn't surge. It was just like, it got real bright all of a sudden, weirdly. And it literally, and like, even on the video, it like looks like how I explained it. Like, it was very vindicating because I was like, it's weird that somebody else experiences and they happen to catch it on camera.
Alien abduction.
But no, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke that. But either way, it was weird and they caught it on camera. And so in the Discord, I had posted a video about that. And then, have you been seeing all this stuff about the lady in Florida missing?
I've dabbled. I haven't dug into any of it. I saw it, but the name didn't register, and I was like, well, I got more important things to do at the time. So I
did the same.
Yeah, I've seen that there was there was like a Ring video or something of who they think did it with a mask on.
Yeah, it's a big old show at this point. Anytime somebody goes missing, and the nation decides that it's a big deal and it's in the news. If it was like, let's say like a big name like Jay-Z goes missing.
Right.
I expect it to be in the news everywhere.
Yeah.
But this rando that literally I've yet to talk to a single person who knew who she was.
Yeah.
Why is the news updating us 24/7 on who this person is?
So curious about this missing. Yeah. Yeah, because they'll even like throw out who her relatives are, and I'm like, I've never heard of any of these people.
So
yeah,
I did a little digging.
Okay,
because that was always a red flag for me.
You're about to educate us.
Either in my mind, it's always either a distraction or there's more here to the story.
Right.
So the lady who went missing, her husband was what they call a scrubber for the Clintons.
Right.
For 8 years during the peak of controversy.
Of the hide the emails stuff. Huh.
And her daughter apparently testified or was going to testify in a lot of the stuff coming about in the news and the Einstein stuff.
Yeah.
So this lady, her husband worked very close with the Clintons. That's why we're supposed to know who this person is and why it's a big deal. Huh. So the conspiracy side of my brain goes, okay, why did she go missing? That's weird.
Yeah.
But then now it's like, oh, now there's the Ring camera, and it's like this, like who's who, and it's like
Well,
this
I even
distraction.
saw they did an AI. They did an AI of what the guy's face looks like according to AI without the mask. I'm like, how's AI?
There's no way.
There's no way. It's a guess. At
It's
best.
literally,
Like,
it's just coming up with what people
or
look like.
or it's somebody they're trying to. This is another theory. It's somebody they're trying to get everybody to hate and disappear as well. And so they're throwing his face on the supposed AI. Because who believes that?
Right.
And there's got to be people who believe it. Otherwise, why are we putting it out there?
right.
That an AI can create a face based on a masked picture of someone in the dark. You know?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
But somebody did say the timing of it was weird.
That is weird.
Considering the Clintons had just been subpoenaed to testify, and then they get subpoenaed, and then their scrubber goes miss, or their scrubber's wife goes missing.
Yeah.
It's a little sus.
A little bit.
But one way or the other, nobody knows who it is. The only reason it's news is because the news decided it was news.
Right. And why?
Nobody's Googling. What was the name? I can't even.
Why
I
do we
literally
need to know? Yeah.
Guthrie.
Yeah.
Who's Googling it? Who's looking it up?
Right.
Why is this news? It's not.
No.
I don't like when news is news because the news decided it was news.
Right.
Not because people want to know about it.
Yeah, because people are asking about
Right.
her because nobody even knew who she was. Yeah.
Yep. Have your TikTok suggestions normalized yet?
They have and they have. So
Mine are still weird.
They're still weird. And you know what else is weird? I can tell now absolutely which ones are AI created and which ones are human created. Because the captions, there's only 3 captions on. It doesn't matter what the video is about, and it's either about the Olympics, the exact same wording, or it's about an upcoming fight, or it was about Bad Bunny playing at the halftime show, and those 3 comments will come up no matter if it's a funny dog video or it's a weightlifting video or whatever. And it's AI.
Yeah, I don't understand.
It's 100%.
Why it does
It's like
that.
it's like their AI simplified, and it only has three possible things it could come up with to put on the comments. But it's the same comment on dozens and dozens of videos that is completely unrelated to what the video is. And then the rest of the videos are pretty normal. They tell you what the video is about or who it's from or whatever. But the same 3, or there's like an eruption, like a volcanic eruption somewhere. That one keeps popping up as a comment on videos. Or not a comment, but the caption for the videos. Mm-hmm. And that's weird. So I'm like, it's like their AI isn't like took the day off or something.
Yeah. Well, I just decided to pop it up real quick just to see again. Guess what the second entry is?
Volcanoes?
Nancy Guthrie.
Oh, nice.
Found, apparently. I don't know if she actually was, but that's what it suggests. And then the other one is, the government knows you have spiritual gifts.
Of course it does.
Have you seen those? Have you looked at that? Do you have TikTok?
I used to.
So if you go to TikTok and then you go to the search bar, it's suggested things of you might like are like off the rocker, just weird. Like all caps, who's searching like that?
Why is it doing that? That's weird.
We don't know. And so I just was...
The government knows you have spiritual gifts. I got that one.
NASA warns people to evacuate. Oh, dude, it's the same stuff. Is it just regurgitating our
It
conversations?
sounds like it is.
What is this one?
Do you really think you can escape?
What? I don't like that one.
So I have one about Nancy Guthrie. I have another one about NASA. I have another one about your brother.
No one in this town even knows. That's what one of them says.
This one is, did you just say your last name is Burger? I don't What is that? But yeah, NASA warns people to evacuate.
It's like they're using the Temu AI right now. Like the new company doesn't have the good AI. And so
I do still have TikTok.
Oh, nice. Let's see what yours are. Yeah, so it's been talked about. You would think that it would be fixed by now, you know?
Yeah.
But no, it's just as weird as before.
I don't even hardly use that feature. That's why I didn't even know that was
same. But I went to go. I don't remember if I saw it on a video or if I went to go search it first. But I think I'm good with the current events.
Yeah.
This week, so it's not this week's episode. It's not necessarily a new idea, but we kind of shifted our mindset on it from last time.
Yeah.
Because we were doing triangles.
Yeah.
And we were like, okay, let's do a part 2 of triangles. And then, but when I found it wasn't necessarily a triangle,
right?
But it was a weird place that was an area that was called the Bermuda Triangle of
Right.
of Transylvania. So we decided to transition that thought process to just weird places.
Right.
So it doesn't necessarily need to be a triangle zone.
And we went underground cities, which is weird.
Yes. We did underground cities.
Place,
and we're also, intentionally, and I'll just share with you guys our thought process over the next couple weeks probably. We're trying to avoid any government conspiracy topics right now. We're trying to avoid any really dark stuff for the main episode because there's enough government conspiracy conversation going on. There's enough dark stuff going on that we just kind of want fun.
At the end of the day, we're a comedy. We're entertainment. We're not trying to,
So if you
get into any of that,
and even in the current events, it's tough to not talk about some of the current events that are popping up just because they're just like everywhere. But as you guys probably sensed, we weren't actually talking about the like dark stuff about it. It was oh, did you see this kind of thing? So my hope is that you, in the coming weeks, if things do get too dark, that you don't feel like you need to avoid our podcast because sometimes we do talk about dark things on this show. But again, like Mike just said, we're a comedy podcast. Sometimes we talk about the nitty gritty stuff that's dark and the government conspiracy theories. We try to do so under a lens of comedy.
Yeah.
So, but because the world right now is so rough with all of the conspiracy theory stuff that we're kind of doubled down in, and we're not going to be talking about that stuff just so that we can be a refresher for you.
Well, and something we've talked about too, when so many conspiracy theories start to come to surface and they're no longer theories, it's a real raw nerve for a lot of people, and just it's a very touchy kind of thing. And so we just don't want that. Yeah. We want to stay fun and have a good time with our conversations. So,
and I'm in a text thread for it's a football group, and I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about it, but a friend, and I've got a few different friends who are in there who are pastors, but it's not a pastor's group. It's actually very much not a pastor's group. For the people in the group know what I'm saying. But it's just anybody and everybody who loves football to the point where you talk about it all season and all year, and it's just constant talking about. Right. And we were talking about conspiracy theories, and a guy was like, I've never actually looked into, like, what did he say? He's like, I've looked into like MK Ultra a little bit. Like, he's like, what podcasts what episodes of yours would you recommend? And I was like, oh, you can go back and listen to those things. So if you are interested in that stuff, we've talked about MK Ultra. We've talked about the Maxwell family.
We've talked about paper clips. We've talked about.
If you don't know who the Maxwell family is, Ghislaine Maxwell, who is Einstein's associate who's in jail, her family has a weird history. If you're interested in that stuff, go back and find it. And actually, if you want a topic, I found this out. So ChatGPT is a great tool. So when anybody asks me like, hey, have you talked about, Operation Paperclip, I just go into ChatGPT and I say, hey, what episodes of the Biblically Accurate Bigfoot podcast talk about MK Ultra? And it'll tell you exactly what episodes we talk about.
I didn't know. That's cool.
And so if you're interested in a topic and you want to go back and listen to an old episode, you don't need to go through and search title and read. You can actually just ChatGPT it, and ChatGPT has the download for you. And so you can go listen to those episodes. But for the next couple of weeks, we're talking about fun stuff.
Yep.
So I originally heard about this on the Ninjas Are Butterflies podcast a while ago. I love their podcast.
Oh, I would love to do an episode with those guys. That'd be fun.
Oh, dude.
They're a fun crew.
I would love that. Dude, could you imagine our crew and their crew on just a giant 7 or 8 person episode?
They can bring shirts and we can bring energy drinks.
That would be wild.
That'd be great.
Oh my gosh. We need to make that happen some point. We'd have to drive down to Florida, but I would do it.
Listen, Ninjas Are Butterflies.
Yes.
Because I know you listen to us.
Yeah.
I know you listen to us. You need to reach out.
Okay. So, shout out to them though, because I did originally hear about this, but when we were looking up strange locations, it popped up and I was like, that's the one.
Yeah.
I remember them talking about it. I'm interested in this. And, this is,
and you shot it at me. I didn't want to look it up because I was like, I want you to tell me about it.
Yes. This is Mount Kailash. Have you ever heard of Mount Kailash?
I have not.
Remember Mount Kailash?
Just because you texted it to me.
It's
I know it's a sacred place.
It is sacred.
A lot of cultures.
But even outside of its sacredness, there's some interesting stuff about it just because of its location.
Yeah.
So it's in the...
Well, there's a reason it's sacred.
Yes.
I mean...
there's got to be. Yeah. So it's in the Tibetan plateau in a really rugged, hard to reach area already.
Right.
So it's in an area that's just, it's difficult terrain. It's hard to get to. It's hard to even even approach. They call it the mountain that never comes, because like if you're approaching the base of the mountain, it looks like you got like another half hour of a walk, and you walk the whole day getting to it. It just seems like it just never comes closer. And I watched a video that wasn't even conspiracy theory. It was just somebody who went to visit for religious reasons.
Right.
And she was like, it was interesting because we started the morning off and they told us we needed to start early in the day because it would take us all to get a day to get there. And after we walked for about an hour, I was thinking, oh, dude, this is like a half hour away. What are they talking about? And then she was like, but as we walked, it's just like it never got closer. It just kept getting further and further away. And then all of a sudden the day is gone and we just get to the base and we're like, oh no, we kind of have to book it out of here because it took us longer to get here than we thought it would take to get here, because it just looked like it was right there the whole day. So they slow down. They're like, oh, we're almost there. And they're like, no, it's like, it plays with your brain a little bit.
Perspective is weird like that though. Like, have you ever been to Las Vegas?
Yeah. Yes, I have been.
We went to Las Vegas and like we were looking and we can see where we want to go. So we're like, we'll just walk because I can see it. And then like 3 hours later, we're still not there. And I'm like, we can still see it. It's right. Why is it taking so long to walk there? And it's just that perspective. Because everything's so big. Yeah. But it feels so small because you can see it. And it's just the way it's built. That's, so I understand that.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just right there. But like, it's not, it's so far away. Yeah.
Yep. That perspective thing is crazy. But yeah, and that's not a weird thing. That's just a perspective.
Yeah. That's just,
But as we continue, you might start to think maybe it is a little bit of a weird thing. So let's just go. So this area, it's already, like I said, it's already a hard to reach area. It's controlled by China. It's in their Tibetan autonomous region. So it's like, the Tibetan people kind of govern it, but China is still the government who makes the decisions on this. And what it is, it's a mountain that has never been summited. So
no one's ever climbed at the top?
Climbed it. Now there's some natural reasons why it's never been summited. For one, just looking at it, it looks like it would be difficult to summit. It's very interesting. And the way it looks, it actually looks like, if I can explain it, it almost looks like a steep pyramid. Like this picture right here, it's like a real steep looking pyramid. But some of the crazy things about it is, so the term North Face, like it's a product company.
Yeah.
Do you know why it's called North Face?
I don't.
So North Face typically is the more rugged of the side of a mountain because the sun doesn't hit it. So there's usually more snow. The North Face is usually where the ski resorts and things like that are because the snow is in the shade of the mountain.
Right.
Huh. That's where the North Face term comes from.
Right.
Well, this mountain is interesting because it's North Face. So it's North Face, and I guess it'll be a Northern Hemisphere thing probably.
Because anything north of Ecuador is
right.
Most of the land we know is in the Northern Hemisphere.
So technically it would be the opposite in the Southern Hemisphere. Yeah. But anyway, in the Northern Hemisphere, that's what the North Face means.
Right.
And this is in the Northern Hemisphere. It's actually I'll get to that. Sorry. I keep getting ahead of myself. Some days when I have a lot of caffeine, my brain is working smoothly. Yeah. And so I can actually get thoughts quick, like not because I'm energetic, but because my brain is actually like calm enough I can see streams of thought. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I gotcha.
Okay.
I'm following right along with you.
That's probably why I like caffeine so much.
I'm in the little passenger car on this journey.
Yeah. With you. So, okay. So the north face of this mountain is actually the bare side of the mountain. And the south face is the one that has more snow on it, which makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because the north face should be the side with more snow because the south side is the one that gets the sunlight. But of this mountain, the more snowy side is actually the south.
Is it like a cold climate over there or no?
Yeah, it's Tibetan, like high Tibetan.
We're talking like abominable snowmen stuff. Yeah.
So elevation wise of this mountain, this mountain is in feet. It's basically 22,000 feet.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard the term like 14er? Like
like in mountain trekking. Yep.
So 14er
is
14er is kind of considered the more like that the average everyday person can train to do a 14er, and it's not unrealistic. The average person. So if you started training, to do a 14er, you would still train for it for the altitude sickness and make sure.
Currently, I could do about a 1.6er.
Right.
In my current training.
But so the 14er is considered and so people talk about how many 14ers they've done in their life and stuff because it's it's the common folk. Before. Yeah, it's actually before I tore my knee. That's what Courtney and I were working towards was we wanted to do start doing 14ers in Colorado. And then I jacked my knee up and we haven't been above 1,000 since. But, so if you think about that, so that's 14er is where you would have to train and you could do it. You could very reasonably could do it. So this is 22,000 feet up is how high this mountain is. Not quite as high as Everest, obviously, but still way high up in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's cited now this is debated because some people claim that it is 6,666 meters.
It's a lot of sixes, sir.
Just hold on. But again, it's in
slow down.
Yes. So people claim that it's 6,666 meters, but science has determined that it's 6,638 meters. But the debate is that science doesn't seem to account for the bottom part of where it dips down or something. I don't. Whatever you want to argue.
The trail start as opposed to the actual. Okay, I got you.
But the crazy thing is, so this mountain is 6,666 kilometers away from the North Pole.
Okay.
It is 6,666 kilometers away from Stonehenge. And then it is, I don't feel like scrolling down in my notes to find this. It is 13,332 kilometers from the South Pole, which is 6,666 doubled.
So I wonder what's in between there at the 66 kilometers.
On the other side?
Dead middle between the 13.
Oh, that's so the dead. So, of the on the southern hemisphere.
If we're creating a pattern of it's that far from these anomalies, what is missing in between?
Well, I think
is there like a triangle or something out there?
Thinking logically, if it's 13, no, never mind. I was thinking that 6,666 would be the equator, but that wouldn't be right.
No,
because it would be
right.
Yeah, because 6,606 would be halfway between, so it'd be 3,333 would be the equator.
All right, road trip. We're going to find out what's in between.
I didn't think to look that up, so I don't know.
That'll be on the Patreon next week.
Yeah, we'll look that up.
If somebody knows, hey, let us know.
Right.
That's curious. That's the measurement is twice the distance.
Yeah.
And to me, that tells me that there's something in between. Or there should be something in between.
Right, you think, but I don't know for sure. That's probably
I think universally. Oh, interesting.
I don't know. Look at I don't know.
Universally, like in the universe, that's how they figured out where the planets were at, was doing math,
right?
Figuring out mathematically where something should be, and then when they looked, there was something there. That's how they figured out where all the planets were at. just in the universe, there's weird number of anomalies like that. Like the size of the moon compared to the sun, and you compare that to the distance from the moon to the sun is the same ratio.
Because it's 400 times
weird,
bigger.
Like that math, those math ratios and numbers, they exist all over the universe. So I'm wondering if there's some kind of anomaly, like in between that they just don't know, or maybe they do,
and I didn't catch it. Yeah, that's possible. But yeah, because sorry. Yeah, I went through and I read a ton of articles. I watched a few different videos. And it seemed like nobody had there wasn't this just like one and done synopsis. Like everybody would have like one piece of information that was different. And so then I'd have to verify that information. It's like, there's just so much about this place that and part of it is, so now think about this, like you said, Kailash is, I don't know if it's Kailash or Kailash. It's Kailash, but I don't know what language that would even be in. So I know it's Kailash. But it is sacred to at least 4 major traditions and religions. It is considered sacred in Hinduism, in Tibetan Buddhism, in Jainism, 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 and Bon, which is the indigenous.
Oh, those guys.
The indigenous.
Those guys.
Of the Tibetan tradition.
Okay.
The indigenous Tibetan tradition. And so it is a pilgrim destination for all of these people. So, which is crazy.
And isn't it like, besides it being just really a rough mountain to climb, if you were to climb it, isn't it like completely like you can't go up there because it's protected by all.
Yeah, it is. It's protected right now.
Government organizations for those religions and things, they won't let anybody on it.
The Tibetan people have a strict no. You do not climb it.
Right.
But the Chinese government has the same viewpoint. Like, no, they can't climb it. But I will get to that. So, there's 3 different pilgrimages that you can take. There's one where you walk up to the base of the mountain and walk back, which takes about a day. And I told you about that at the beginning, teasing you a little bit. And then there's a inner circle and then an outer circle where you can walk around the mountain. The outer circle takes about 1 to 3 days, depending on who's doing it. The inner circle takes 1 to 3 days, depending on who does it, which is weird because
that should not add up.
But because the inner circle, the terrain, just based off of a non-spooky, just the terrain is rougher, closer to the base.
Oh, okay.
So walking around further out is actually easier.
Even like maybe if it's up and down more, that's going to create more distance. And okay, that makes more sense. At first, I thought you were going to tell me, and that one takes 3 to 5 days, and I'd be like, what?
But the fact that the outer circle, you're going to walk significantly farther.
Yeah.
And it's actually going to take you about the same amount of time as if you walk the inner circle. Also, people who walk the outer circle usually do it and they're just kind of like, yeah, that was good. But the people who walk the inner circle, if they do it and they take their time, I think they called it like prostrating, where they actually like lay down and pray along the path, that they walk away from it oftentimes completely changed because their perception of time changes while they're up there.
Huh.
So that's kind of where the pilgrimage stuff starts.
Right.
Where like the lore starts. We're going to transition a little bit into the lore. So I mentioned earlier, it's kind of pyramid shaped. Each side is roughly very similar. It has straight edges.
Yeah.
It kind of looks a little off. It looks, not going to lie, compared to the rest of the Tibetan plateau, the Tibetan mountains that are around it, the mountains are very rugged. They're just, whatever. This one is very steep and lines.
Yeah.
And very like linear, like there's corners and stuff like that. So it just kind of stands out.
And when I saw a picture, it almost
makes sense.
Almost like monolithic looking.
Yes.
Like it just stands out.
Some people have theorized that it is an ancient pyramid, But here's the thing, because it is so protected, not only can you not climb it, they can't core it, they can't dig, they can't get up close to do anything really.
Can't radar it. Can't do any of that.
They're not allowed. So the climbing. Now, China historically had wavered on their desire to not let it be climbed. And at one point they were kind of like, because China is kind of anti-religious. They're like, let's just let some people do it. So there's people who went through the Chinese government and got approval to climb. And every single one of them, when they would go and touch base and look at the mountain, something in them told them to not climb it.
Yeah.
And the most famous one basically said after he got what would make you, as somebody like that has done has climbed Mount Everest, why would you go through all the effort to get the approval from the government to climb it, and then you arrive and you look at it and you go, I think I'm all right.
Right.
Yeah.
You finance there. It, you train,
they get there. And there was a guy that literally got to the point where he landed to climb it. And then he's quoted as saying that, no, this one, climbing it doesn't mean anything. It's more important to not climb it. Is kind of what he came away with, basically. And I'm not direct quoting him because the quotes of his, they're different. Everyone has a different quote. So that is why it remains unclimbed. But let's tell you some of the other weird stuff about this place. So at the base of this mountain, there are 2 lakes. One lake is pure and pristine. And it's so pristine that they say that it doesn't even get like choppy when the wind blows.
Yeah.
It just stays glassy all the time. And even in the winter, it's way up in the mountain and it doesn't freeze. But
that's what I was going to say. Doesn't it freeze?
It's not salt water.
Okay.
It's just fresh water. Then right next to it, there is a saltwater lake. And they say this is where some of the yin yang stuff starts to play, because next to it is a saltwater lake. In the freshwater lake, it's just lush. There's so many fish that live in this lake.
Yeah.
Then right next to it, there's a saltwater lake that there's no fish that live in. Like literally, like right next to each other at the base of this mountain.
Huh.
And there's a saltwater lake, and this saltwater lake sometimes it just likes to disappear. So they'll come up to it and there'll just be no lake there.
Well, and how's a saltwater lake that far from the ocean? I mean, normally you associate saltwater lakes as being connected to the ocean. There's some backflow and that's weird.
According to everything I found,
do you mean it not being there as in it's just like drained completely out of water?
It's just empty. And then one day they'll go back and it'll be there again.
That is weird. With it being salt water too, that is weird.
Now,
because I was thinking maybe even like an aquifer or something that kind of ebbs and flows in and out, but what would make it saltwater though? You know,
but the rugged and dead lake, that one on the other hand is never calm. It is always choppy. And now my thought process is maybe that's how the wind.
Yeah,
like thinking like, I mean,
if we're trying to
geologically, the wind kind of blows through because like looking. I mean, it's a mountainous area. I play disc golf out at the state park, and that's not even a mountain. And there's holes where I've never felt wind on that hole.
Yeah,
and then there's holes where it doesn't matter. There could be no wind, and you're going to have wind on that hole. Because like up by hole 13, there's always wind up there. But on hole 6 star.
Yeah.
I've never felt wind on that hole.
Yeah.
Because of where it's located.
Right.
So logically, the science of my brain is like, maybe there's just the way it's built. Maybe that's why, and that lore just kind of created over time. But yeah, so then structurally, like I said, structurally it looks kind of like a pyramid. And all of these traditions have just their lores about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not even going to get into all the lores because I just want to make sure you have plenty of time for yours. But it has been labeled, and going back to the triangle thing, it has been labeled a Bermuda Triangle on land. So that's interesting.
Right.
So let's get into some of the lore, okay?
I'm ready.
The first lore story is that the mountain measures time. Amongst the locals, they say they have a phrase that basically means that the mountain measures time. And this is something that they say you don't necessarily notice at first. That when you go up and you're close to the mountain, when you get real close to the mountain, you don't, like, you can't sense time the right way.
Yeah.
Like, you can go up to the mountain and you're going to spend an hour there, but you end up spending an entire day there. Like, you just lose track of time.
Yeah.
We've talked about that in a couple different episodes now. Makes me wonder. And that is actually something that scientifically they have found. They've measured the amount of energy coming off of the mountain, and the energy coming off of it is right around 3 times what the average, like the average, my brain is missing the term, but I know you're saying significantly
we've
higher.
talked about how, like, even like the pyramids and the mass of the pyramids can warp time by, several seconds over a span of time. And so this, and so the magnetic stuff in this area is off too. Yeah. We've talked about that a few different times of it can affect time. But there's a story of a hiker that went up and he wasn't being disrespectful or anything, but he just went up to conquer the inner trail just so that he could, not trying to hike up the mountain or anything like that, just wanted to conquer it. Right. And when he got back, his nails were long and his beard looked like it had grown like an entire month worth. And he had only spent 2 days up there. So Camden, we can grow that beard out. Let's just go to Tibet. Yeah. Take a cruise around the inner circle.
Yep.
Done.
So the locals say that one day near Kailash equals multiple days elsewhere. Not necessarily that the sun goes up and down, but that time goes faster. And so you endure more
effects,
time there.
The effects of time.
Yeah. Is basically.
Yeah, and that that's interesting.
Then there's
that's a different time perception, because even with the mass in the Egyptian, in the pyramids and things, when they measured time, the time in relation to our day going around the sun and things did not change. Right. The actual time that was kept by the mechanisms that were recording the time were different, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But this
is more like your body feels the effect of time. Yeah. There's another story, and these are the local. These ones are all local legends. Yeah. The ones I'm sharing right now. This is a newer modern one where apparently it happened in the 90s that there was a trekker who came up and he decided he just wanted to stay the night alone. And the tour guides always say that don't go up alone. Yeah. Practically speaking, there's a billion reasons why you should not go into this place alone. The terrain alone, it's not meant to be done alone. And so this guy was like, nope, I want the solitude because I want to feel the effects of the mountain, religiously. I want some solitude. And so he goes up and he stays in his tent. He pitches his tent. And then the night comes and then he hears footsteps, just slow, deliberate, circling his tent. And for as long as he could remember, all he heard was what sounded like footsteps slowly walking around his tent. And then he says that he lost consciousness or fell asleep, just at some point fell asleep, I would assume. Right. And then when he woke up, that his boots were actually outside of his tent, but everything else was normal. His tent was zipped up, but his boots were sitting outside, aligned like he had set them on the outside of his tent, but he didn't. And
it's that Yeti.
That's
sneaking in, stealing boots.
And he said that when he got back to the village, the base village, that's kind of the same thing as there's the base village for going up, Mount Everest.
Any mountain has
You've got that base village, the last place to buy stuff, kind of thing. Yeah. When he got back, all he could say was, "I wasn't supposed to be up there." Right. That's all he could say. And so he immediately left the region, didn't come back, even though he was supposed to stay for a week. Yeah. Crazy. The next story is just that it's oftentimes there's weird shadows. You'll be walking, a lot of people have reported this, that they'll be walking and it's almost as though there's a shadow walking next to them. Right. There's a lot of stories, and not ahead of them, not behind them, next to them. like out of the peripheral, all you can see is a shadow. And then when you go to look, there's no shadow there.
And we've talked about shadow people like that, how you'll
yeah.
see them in the corner of your eye, and then when you look, they're not really there.
But the weird thing is they report that like when they look back and they start walking again, the shadow thing comes back almost.
Yeah.
A lot of people have reported this one. They say that they're guides. They're not protectors. They're not scary. They're just guides.
Right.
Whatever that means to you.
Harbingers.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But some people say that the mountain is protecting itself and that these shadows are measuring your intentions and what they will do to you. Oh. So if your intentions are nefarious, they then judge you and then will harass you.
Nefari you.
Yeah.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Is that a real word?
Yep.
Okay.
Sure.
Kim, is that a real word?
Probably.
Okay. So, and the last story that I'm going to tell is there's a doctor in Russia who came out and he wrote a book on that he had treated 4 people who tried to climb the mountain back in, I think it was 2001. And the main phrase from his manuscript is, the year the mountain gave them back old. Is kind of the premise of the book. Now, or not the book, the biography, the story that this doctor is told. So he says that he treated 4 people who went to this Tibetan mountain and decided they wanted to climb it illegally. And they actually started the process, and they made it to the base, and they started up the base and started actually working their way up the mountain. And they got about a day and a half in. And that first night when they were sitting down for the evening, one of the guys took his glove off and he noticed that his nails grew like a lot.
Yeah.
And they initially were kind of laughing like, that's weird. And then all the rest of them started pulling their gloves off and realizing their nails were like long. And then they started really looking close and they were like, dude, your beard has grown like a week's worth.
Right.
And just like little subtle things like that. They just started noticing that they were like just real small details. So then the next day they started continuing up, and as they continue hiking up this mountain, they start getting just like tired. Like, as somebody who is getting older, I know the difference between what it felt like walking up a hill when I was 20 versus walking up a hill in my 30s.
Right.
You feel it's not like, I don't know. It's like, I know the movies always portray it as like this, like, just like dramatic thing, but it's like in your mind, there's just this, it's like a drop off. It's a slow drop off.
No, I get it. So like, even with jujitsu and me being, I'll be 50 this year, and just,
dang,
I know
you're old.
And just doing jujitsu, like there's days where I'm like, I want to get better. And I realize it's not a matter of me getting better. It's kind of at this point maintaining.
Yeah.
Maintaining is winning at this point because I feel it.
Yeah.
I'm slower.
Absolutely.
I'm sorer.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah, exactly.
You can feel the effects of aging. Absolutely. You don't want to, but you can.
And so as they're walking, they kind of explained it in that same way.
Right.
That it's just like every step took more of a toll than it should.
Right.
They were out of breath more than they should be. They had less energy. They needed to start stopping more and more often as they continued to walk up this mountain. And then eventually it got to the point where it was like, they couldn't even like, they were just fumbling. They started realizing like, this is getting dangerous.
Yeah.
This mountain truly is unhikeable. But in their mind, it's just more rugged than they thought it would be kind of thing.
Right.
And so they began the process down. And they said the weird thing is that as they were walking down, it's like the effects started to undo themselves. It became easier and easier, but not their nails didn't grow back, like they didn't shrink or anything like that.
Right.
But it was like all of a sudden their breath, they could catch their breath easier and stuff like that. Which altitude, okay.
Well, that was my thought.
But these are people who
even altitude doesn't come back that fast.
And these are people who hike, like they know what altitude would feel like. But they're not experiencing as much fatigue and stuff like that. But they get back and they recognize like this is a huge mistake. We should have never climbed this mountain. And they go back to Russia, and that's when they started to recognize some of the long-term effects. And within a couple years, the climbers actually started to die from basically old age.
Yeah.
Like
Ooh,
their
that's
heart,
weird.
they had like heart failure.
Just like
their organs were going out, just old organs. And the doctors said that it was almost as though like they're just certain parts of their body is just like, it was like as if they were dying from old age, but they were young. And
so it'd almost
prime.
be like the antithesis to like the Fountain of Youth kind of deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And so whether or not this story is real, because it's a doctor's secondhand information from Russia. So even if this story isn't real, the thing about it is that it actually lines up with a lot of the local legends of people who do experience the same thing. They nefariously try to climb up the mountain and they age like crazy.
Yeah.
And there's other stories. There's a few more stories that I'm not going to get into just because timing wise, I want to make sure you have plenty of time for your story. But it lines up with so many different other stories. And so one way or the other, now bare bones, there is something weird about this mountain.
Yeah.
Because why would so many different religions consider this mountain their whatever, their holy site, sacred ground? You know, if from my experience, if anything, you know, these people like even like sacred ground to even Native Americans within the United States. There's something significant of these
there's a
regions.
reason. Yeah, there's something going on with that land.
Something,
That makes it a sacred site.
And when Native Americans avoid an area, you know, it's like there's something significant that's happening that causes them to avoid it.
Yeah.
So the same thing. So not only that, but 4 different religions have decided like we're not going to climb up that mountain, and getting close to it is going to affect you.
Yeah.
And it can affect you good or bad.
So
But
here's
it's going to affect you.
Here's a weird what if, talking about symmetry and math and everything else in the universe. Let's say this is the anti-Fountain of Youth.
The
anti-youth.
It's just
What would be the exact opposite spot on Earth to this spot?
Oh, like on the exact other side of the Earth?
Opposite side of the Earth.
Would it be...
Like if this was a pole. Let's say this is a pole. And like old age pole, what would be the opposite, the young age pole? I'm curious. I don't know why you looked that up. That's interesting. I don't know. It's probably nothing, but
it would be kind of cool if it was like
something that would be weird, huh? Yeah.
Well, you know, and one of my thought processes goes to if it is like a gravitational spot.
Yeah.
Like it would be gravity, there's been hypotheses and proven and gravity can affect time and stuff like that. What if the gravity's just like really high?
Yeah, what if for some reason there's like an extreme gravitational pull in that spot?
So it's it's out in the ocean. The exact opposite part of the Earth is
Atlantis.
In the South Pacific Ocean, west of southern Chile.
Okay. I was guessing South America somewhere.
So
Atlantis.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's a bunch of different lore for that region.
Really?
Ooh,
Yeah, that region that's in the opposite.
That is interesting.
There's Mapuche and Southern Andean beliefs that there is a cosmic balance in that region.
Ooh, okay.
That the ocean is living, that there is a serpent in the sea.
That is weird.
That is
weird. The opposite spot on the Earth from this anomaly
And that
another unrelated cultural anomaly.
And they believe that the serpent of that sea raises mountains to save life.
Okay, that is weird.
To save life.
Yeah.
They believe that it is this has created a parallel. Mount Kailash is mythically a cosmic stabilizer. The Mapuche Sea is more of the ocean as what happens when balance fails.
Oh, okay.
is kind of its
But
it's
there's
on the fly
like
theory.
a crazy antithesis, like that two different cultures recognize
Yeah.
these as interesting geographical locations.
But the thing about this area is, unlike the like Bermuda Triangle style regions, this area's lore is really defined by an absence, because there's no navigational routes, no major chain islands, no legendary cities, no heroic voyages, just a
void.
Void.
Huh. Just a void of people just avoiding that area.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting.
Interesting. Oh, that's weird.
That is weird when you discover something kind of on the fly that just popped into my head. Weird.
That's kind of crazy. So what if it is? What if there is a gravitational pull?
What if we have more than one pole? Like there's several poles. We just
and
always think of the gravitational pull. What if there's
gravitational?
Yeah. What if there's a gravitational pull
versus
magnetic pull?
I've never looked into that. That might be something I might do some fun research on just for funsies.
Interesting.
Camden. Yeah. All right. Let's hear your guys' story.
So we kind of went opposite kind of weather, and we decided we wanted to look a little bit into the Valley of the Kings. I always been fascinated with the Valley of the Kings.
Valley of the Kings.
Like if I want to visit some historical place, I think this would be a cool place to visit. Like if you look at pictures and things, it's pretty amazing, and it's where the several dozen pharaohs from the Egyptian kingdoms are buried. It's a big necropolis type of deal, right? Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to find some like weird, fringe, strange things. And so I found an interview with this gentleman named Tim Hogan. And if you're not familiar with Tim Hogan, he is a self-proclaimed. He is a Knights Templar, and he's a high-ranking person with the Knights Templar. And Tim Hogan, if you don't know, his father was the mayor of Aurora when DIA. He designed DIA, basically.
Okay.
And we've talked about DIA, and there's a lot of theories around DIA and underground cities and all that stuff. So I found that connection kind of interesting. His grandfather, whose name is Howard Hogan, was the Grand Master Knights Templar of the state of Nebraska. So a couple generations ago. He was like one of the top dogs in Nebraska. So I thought that was interesting. His like 7 generations back great grandfather was Dr. Joseph Warren. Do you know who Dr. Joseph Warren was? Mm-mm. He died early in the American Revolution. He's the one who sent Paul Revere on his ride to warn people. He's the one who actually sent him.
Okay.
Now this gentleman was also a Knights Templar.
Okay.
According to legend. And that those traditions just get passed down. So he told some of his stories of being a Templar and their connection with being, he's also a 32nd level Freemason. He's a 32nd degree.
32nd?
Yeah.
Not quite the 33rd.
Not quite the 33rd. He was a 32nd.
Not quite
degree.
fully evil.
Which actually gave his story a little bit of a little more belief. He didn't just go straight for 33rd.
Yeah,
he went 32nd. So I was like, maybe. But he had some interesting theories on like what things were, and he talked a little bit about the Valley of the Kings before he really got into some stuff. He talked about how the Knights Templar had 7 vaults in the Americas where they hide all of their stuff from the Europeans. So like that's why they never recovered any of the Knights Templar stuff, is because they were coming across the ocean and they were hiding them in vaults in South and North and South America. And he said they've consolidated them now to 2 vaults. And he said, well, I can tell you one of them's in Washington, D.C., but I'm not going to give you any more detail. And the interviewer was like, don't you think people are going to be looking around Washington, D.C.? And he goes, it's cool. They're not going to be able to find it.
Wow.
Like we keep a close eye on it, and they're not going to be able to find it. But it's in Washington, D.C., one of the vaults where they keep all these artifacts and stuff that they kept away from the Catholic Church.
Interesting.
Allegedly. Now, if you know the story he told the story of Christopher Columbus coming over here. And if you know, like Christopher Columbus, his big flag on his flagship was, it had the Knights Templar cross on it. He was not a Knights Templar, so that's interesting. And the reason he did that, this guy said, was because the Knights Templar had been trading and hiding artifacts with the native people of the Americas for a long time. And they had been hiding all their riches and all that stuff across the sea. And Christopher Columbus, who married the daughter of a Knights Templar, found some maps and things like that. So that's what he took to. He took to the rulers of Portugal, and Portugal said, "You know what? We're not interested," because Portugal was the established country of the Knights Templar.
Okay.
So Portugal was Knights Templar, and they're like, "We already know all this. You're not showing us anything we don't know." So he went to the Queen of Spain, and she commissioned his trip to the Americas. So he showed up with the Knights Templar flag. They thought he was a friend. So they invited him in because they were like, "Oh, he's our buddy." And then he started enslaving and doing all the things we know that Columbus did. So he basically tricked the natives into thinking that he was friendly, following these maps and recovered treasures and all this stuff from the maps that he found from the Knights Templar.
That's an interesting.
Right? So interesting theory, regardless of whether it's true or not.
There was
cool.
there was just recently they found a skull, like fragments of a skull.
Yeah.
That date back to, gosh, I want to say it was either 700 or AD or 700 BC, and it is of a white person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
according to this, he said the Knights have been going back and forth since they accumulated their wealth.
Yeah.
Because they knew that the Catholic Church wanted it, and so they needed a place they could hide it.
So if it was 700 AD, and that's when that bone was found, that's super
Well,
intriguing.
and here's the thing, too. When the Catholic Church came in, declared the Knights as heretics, and started arresting them, they were only able to arrest a few of them.
Right.
And there were thousands and thousands of Knights Templar. They went into hiding and they got in their ships. They had one of the biggest armadas in the world at the time. Yeah. And he said they just went across the ocean and settled in the Americas.
That sounds a lot like something that happened after World War II with the Nazgûls.
With that one group of people that... Anyway.
What?
Yeah. So anyway, to escape prosecution,
Camden, wake up.
they came to the Americas. All right,
I'm dozing off, man. Even though I got this monster in me.
Long story short, but so this guy,
scoop?
This guy, so let me tell you, this guy legit, whether you believe he's high ranking, and if you believe the Knights Templar are real, you can look them up, they're real. Whether they're actually connected to the original Knights Templar is up for question.
Yeah.
But they are a real organization.
Right.
This guy is top of that organization, and he has special permission to go in places other people can't go into. He can go into the pyramids. They hold, he says, every year they hold for the new high-ranking Templar. They hold their initiation ceremony in the pyramids at Giza, in the king's chambers and stuff.
That's so weird.
It's weird. It's weird, but how cool is that he goes places that people can't? And so he's giving information on stuff that nobody else can get because you can't go in these places.
Right.
He's allowed to go. Yeah. And he puts on these tours, these special tours for the Knights Templar that are registered with the Knights Templar, and they go on these tours. And some of those tours are in South America, which I thought was kind of interesting. That they were that connected to South America. And the Knights Templar secret handshakes and all that stuff. The priests and things like that and the pastors and things down in South America all know all the secret handshakes because they've been passed down for hundreds and hundreds of years, even in South America. So anyway, back to the Valley of the Kings. So he was talking about the Valley of the Kings, and in particular, he brought up Nefertiti. And he said something we don't know. And they said they haven't found Nefertiti. They just know she existed. And they said they haven't found her bones yet because we have her bones. Oh. Okay. And he was like, the reason we have her bones is because the world isn't quite ready to know exactly who she was. And he said, there's lots of clues. He said, if you look at images of Nefertiti and her bust and things like that of Nefertiti, she is not wearing a traditional Egyptian garb, not wearing traditional Egyptian headgear. She is wearing Mayan headgear and headdress.
wild.
And I looked and I was like, okay. I always thought Nefertiti looked a little different from the other Egyptian queens. Now, according to him and according to the Templar, her husband, who would be Akhenaten, Pharaoh Akhenaten, married a Mayan princess in order to connect the Egyptians and the South Americans. We've talked about how closely related the natives of the Americas are to the Egyptians with hieroglyphs and things like that. So he says this would actually, if they pulled the DNA from Nefertiti's bones, it would show that she was actually native of South America and that she was Mayan.
Interesting.
And that she was a Mayan princess, not
that would be so wild.
Yeah. And that they were connected. And he takes it back to Atlantis and all that stuff.
Well,
too.
because that's one of the big, when we talked about the Smithsonian, one of the big things that they allegedly have covered up in the Grand Canyon is
those hieroglyphs
and Egyptian stuff.
And that at
least Egyptian looking stuff.
Way more connected than the world gives them credit for, because, and he said the reason is because Western culture and the world wants the Vikings and the explorers to be the ones who discovered this land. When in actuality, the Templar and the Egyptians and everybody were already going across the ocean. They already knew they existed. They were already creating, worldwide, international connections and things with other cultures. The world didn't want that to be the truth. And so they said they had to hide those things. But anyway, I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting.
Now, in the Valley of the Kings,
wild if that was true. That'd be so crazy.
That would be crazy. So they've been digging up these bones. There's some that they can't get to because it's very restricted. Mm-hmm. Now he said, I thought this was interesting. He said, now, when we look at it through the common history of things, the Valley of the Kings looks like tombs that were dug out to protect the tombs from grave robbers and things like that. Yeah. And he said that's not true. That what happened was they found this underground city, very similar, this was his words, very similar to Derinkuyu in Turkey. They found this underground city, and it goes about 300 feet deep. Geographically about the same size as Derinkuyu. And it was an underground city, and they decided that that was a good place to start burying their kings in order to honor them. And so they glammed it up and started writing their stories on the walls, but that had already existed when they found it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
we just talked about that last week.
I know. And that's what, when he said that, that's when I was like, what? And then it freaked my dog out. Yeah. He thought he was in trouble. But I was like, that is crazy, because I wasn't even looking for that connection. And that was a connection that he made on the thing. He said it was very similar to Derinkuyu. They found it and they decided that it was perfect for setting up tombs. And so they changed all the, the separate rooms and things into like burial chambers and just converted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so they're still finding mummies in this place. The most recent one they found, do you know the most recent one they found? It was in 2023.
Okay.
His name was Tutmosis. Tutmosis. And the very first thought they had was that, based on the carvings on the walls, was that this was the biblical Moses.
Oh.
Right? And even he mentions that on the show. Yeah. And so I dug into some research, because I was like, that the Bible does not say that Moses was ever a pharaoh.
No, he was.
And this pharaoh was a pharaoh for about 8 years. Okay. Right? Not very long. So he was kind of a forgotten pharaoh, but they did find his bones in this place. And so they started doing some cross-referencing and things like that, trying to find family connections.
Yeah.
Right? So, Tutmosis, one of his children, the one who took over the throne, was Akhenaten. So this brand new mummy they found is actually Akhenaten and Akhenaten's father, right? The guy who married Nefertiti, right?
Yeah.
And if you know Akhenaten and Nefertiti, who their son is King Tut. is their son. So there's a lineage there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, here's another one. Here's another clue that that Nefertiti, I just saw this on my notes. Nefertiti came across from the ocean. Her name actually means the beautiful one has come. And so people assume that means she came from a foreign land. And they've thought that forever, that she came from a foreign land. They just don't know what land she came from. But newer clues and things like that, they've, you know, and he just straight up said that's one of the secrets that the Templar have been hiding, that, you know, one of those secrets they're ready to let people start knowing.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting. So it got me thinking about the Moses thing. So I dug in a little bit, and I have a theory, and it's probably way off. It's probably way off, but I thought it was kind of a fun theory, and Cameron and I talked about it a little bit. So the Bible does not mention what Pharaoh Moses is, and there's a lot of assumptions that it was Ramesses.
A lot of speculation, and
Ramesses the second was a big one that they think because of different context clues and building things, right? But I have a different theory. All right. Because I was looking at this and this new mummy coming up. I have this feeling, because what do you know about Akhenaten and his rule? Do you know anything special about him and Nefertiti?
I don't know a whole lot about.
So Akhenaten, I didn't know either. And so I looked into these pharaohs. Akhenaten was the only pharaoh that I could find where, when he became ruler, he pronounced that there is only one God.
Interesting.
He said there is one God. The rest of these gods are under gods. They serve this one God, and we are only worshiping and sacrificing things for this one God. So he went to this one God, singular God theory,
monotheistic,
and people were angry about it. His people were angry about it, but he commanded his people destroy all the idols, destroy all the temples for all the other gods, and there's one God, right? So I got to thinking, and I was like, he had a mess of daughters. What if one of those daughters was the daughter who found and adopted Moses, and Moses was his adopted son? This pharaoh.
Right.
Okay. Now, when Akhenaten died, Nefertiti took over for a little while, and then she died. King Tut took over basically as an adolescent. He was a kid when he took over, right?
Yeah.
What if King Tut is the pharaoh from... Because King Tut right away said, I don't like this. Anybody who is celebrating this one God is a heretic and needs to get out of here. And obviously the Hebrew, and all that, they existed at the time.
Yeah.
And what if Moses was there, named after Tutmosis, his grandfather, or his adoptive grandfather? Just a thought. Wrap your mind around that for a second. And what if King Tut saying, no, you're wrong. There is more than one God. You think there's one God.
It was a challenge to him.
Why don't you prove it? And then Moses is like, well, let me show you a few things.
Yeah.
And then Moses is like, let my people go. Let me go with my people. And what if it was King Tut? And we're off by, and our historical thinking, we're off by a couple hundred years.
Yeah. Which is not unfeasible.
No.
By any means.
No. So just a thought.
This is really intriguing. Yeah. Genuinely.
Yeah. Because people don't talk about that with King Tut, because we want King Tut to be this cool leader that came up from being a kid, and he really wasn't. Right. A great ruler. Yeah. In terms of all of that. I mean, he was wealthy, but that was just because of the way he did his rule. So
that's intriguing enough. I'm going to be doing some looking into. Yeah. I like, just off base, I don't know enough about the pharaohs at all. All I know, I know the biblical side of things. In the biblical story, there is not a lot to go on. No. And even we have more about, how the Jews got to Egypt and became, we have more of that time than Moses leaving. And what pharaoh would have more reason to fight a monotheistic God who is the God of these slaves? Who cares? Who would have more
fight in that battle than a pharaoh who was coming fresh off of pharaohs that were pushing a monotheistic ideology. You know,
Yeah.
In my head, that made sense. I don't know. Something to look into, though. I don't know. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a historian, but I thought that was kind of an interesting angle that I
Right.
came up with on the way up here.
Well, that's because I'm thinking through because I just had to look it up because the amount of time estimated between Joseph to Moses is 430 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of time for your belief system to have a chance to begin affecting the culture around you.
Yeah.
And originally they were brought in as equals because
Right.
there was, famish and Joseph had set, everything was set up
Yeah.
and ready to go. And recently that they've actually found next to some of the pyramids, they've actually found grain storage sites.
Yeah.
And so, which actually proves it. And so that's that's on my brain is
interesting,
kind of
fun
thinking
little theory.
time wise,
Yeah.
what would it take to get from there to there? And then what would it take from, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So going a totally different direction.
Yeah.
Because this is where my brain went afterwards, and Cameron and I talked about this quite a bit because we were talking about the electrical stuff. The pyramids exist over there, and for forever we were told that they were the tombs, and they've never found any mummies in the pyramids. In any of the pyramids they've found, they think that there's these sarcophagus like placement stones. These little slots where you would stick the sarcophagus and things like that, right? Mm-hmm. So this guy, and I don't know, this was a great theory. He started talking about manna and stuff from the Bible, and talked about how monoatomic gold was something that the Templars were able to make with their alchemy. And monoatomic gold just looks like white dust. And when you do a chemical analysis on it, it doesn't show up as anything because gold naturally isn't monoatomic.
Right.
But monoatomic gold, the kings and things like that thought it had really cool spiritual effects, like it could help you see into the future and, all the things like that. Here's the thing is it's super hyper electric conducting.
Huh.
Right? Like more than just gold.
Yeah.
And so the arcs, he said the arcs, when they had the manna in it, that it was monoatomic gold is what manna was. And they would have it in there, and what it would do, it would up the amount of electricity that was being created by these arcs. And the arcs were basically like super batteries, right? Which, like, there's stories of people touching the arc and they just die when they touch the arc. And they assume it's because it got electrocuted, right?
Yeah.
So Cameron and I were looking. And Camden, we looked at the priests were the only ones that could open the arcs without dying, and they would tie a rope around them in case they died, so they could pull them out.
Yeah,
right. Camden, they all had the staff.
It was a wasp scepter.
Yeah, they had
is what
the
it's
scepter,
called.
right?
Yeah.
What was it made out of?
It was made out of copper, primarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was looking, and this guy said what they would do is they would take that copper rod, they would stick it in the ground, and then lean it against the arc. And it would ground it, and that's how they could open it. And everybody was blown away that they had the power to open these arcs when it killed everybody else.
And those scepters were only possessed by
were made of
gods, pharaohs, and the priests.
Yeah.
Those were the only ones who had
But
them.
they would lean the copper scepter against it, and it would ground the electricity.
Ground it. Yeah.
And then they could open up the arc and put stuff in it and stuff. Yeah. Now, those little bases, those sarcophagus bases in the king's chambers and things like that in the pyramids. When we looked at it, those are made out of red granite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Red granite is a huge electrical conductor when it comes to rocks.
Okay.
Right? So it's an electrical conductor, and it actually produces electricity under pressure. So this guy's like, so what? They didn't put sarcophagus on them. They put these arcs on them, and those things weighed upwards of 1,000 pounds.
Yeah.
And they would sit it on top of there, and that would create an electrical boost to that battery. Right? He said, if you look inside the pyramids, in the structure of the pyramids, in the cornerstones, they have metal brackets that hold the corners together.
Yeah.
The brackets aren't right for holding pressure. The brackets are a zipper conductor. They're built like a zipper conductor that would shoot electricity to the top of the pyramid into the gold cap, and it would shoot electricity out. And they basically had wireless electricity.
Huh.
He said that was the purpose of the pyramids. And I was like,
Interesting.
Yeah, Cameron and I were like,
yeah, because
that is interesting.
I mean, it's even theorized that Tesla had rediscovered or discovered
that's where he,
and that our government
ideas.
has the ability, like they know that you're capable of doing it, and it's like, so it's now you start getting into the old technology, new technology.
Yeah,
what technology?
Well, and that's
is
what they said, the flying vehicles and things, if it could run off wireless electricity,
right?
You know, and wiring the electricity gives you control. You can charge people for it if it's just in the air.
Yeah.
And the sand is natural static electricity creator.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, like if you go up to there's videos, if you go up to the top of the pyramid, you have like a wet rag.
Yeah.
You can see sparks coming off of the wet rag,
Wild.
just standing on it, from the static electricity created without the gold caps.
Yeah. Without even having the gold caps. Yeah. The capstones.
It's interesting.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No matter how real this story is, because that's like everything in that is, I'm like, yeah, it's
totally
feasible.
believable. Yeah. Now, whether I believe it or not, I don't know.
Right.
It's feasible.
But the thing about it is, I think the more and more that I look into Egypt as a whole, the less and less I believe our historical narrative on it. Because even from a biblical perspective, even just looking at what the magicians were able to do for the Pharaoh in recreating the things of God.
Yeah.
You know, their abilities were not just simple, they were just old people, you know, it's a third world, you know, you know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to think of how to word it, but it's like they were just dumb, you know, angry gods who built giant things to honor themselves. Yeah. The more and more I learn about it, the less and less I believe that, and the less and less I believe that they built these things as tombs.
Yeah.
And the more and more I think that these things, like you said, it's almost like they later on then rediscovered them and then were like, oh yeah, tombs.
Yeah.
Or
like they weren't quite sure what it was, but they found this other thing that's similar, so they're like, oh, they must go together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even, you know, in one of the pyramids they found that has the grain storage around it and stuff, and it's like that very clearly was not a burial chamber.
Yeah.
Why would they store grain at a burial chamber? That's weird.
Well, and the whole creating manna thing was crazy. He said that a lot of the sacrifice, when they'd sacrifice animals, that was them creating this gold, this monoatomic gold out of the ashes of that, you know. When Moses comes down and they have the golden calf, what does the Bible say that he did with the golden calf?
My brain is blank right now.
I believe, doesn't it say destroyed it and turned it to ash?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
How do you turn gold to ash? Gold melts.
That's true.
So he's saying the alchemy of it, you know, was passed on to the Templar, and they didn't turn the gold to ash. They turned it to monoatomic gold.
Okay, so
is what this guy said. Now, I haven't read the story in so long, I don't remember what
Moses burned the golden calf, ground it into powder, and mixed it in the water and forced the Israelites to drink it.
Yeah. So, and they would drink manna to accept God and things. It was a very spiritual thing to drink this monoatomic gold. But the thing is, people glaze right past that. And he's like, people glaze right past it and don't realize you melt gold. You can't turn gold into powder.
Right.
Unless you know the alchemy to turn it into a powder, right? And he's like, that's your science right there, proving that the alchemy of that manna is real. In Saqqara, are you familiar with Saqqara? It's a big necropolis for the lesser kings and officials, just up the road from Valley of Kings.
Yeah.
So in Sakar, they have these huge 100-ton granite boxes.
Burn it until it became a powder, according to this.
Yeah. It doesn't become a powder when you burn gold. Right?
I gotta look. I'm gonna have to look up the
Isn't that
actual
crazy?
scripture after we get done. Yeah.
Right? I had glazed past that so many times that I was like, hold on. You're right. It doesn't melt gold. It doesn't say he melted the gold down.
Yeah.
It says he turned it into a powder. How did he turn it into a powder? Unless he knew the alchemy of changing it into this mana that we obviously don't know how to do anymore.
Right.
Now,
I am still listening up, but I am looking
so
up.
Sakar, they have these huge 100-ton granite boxes, right? And they're huge. And when they opened them up, they thought they'd find treasure and all this stuff. And when they opened them up, they just had a white powder in them.
Huh.
And so the story is that the historical story is that these were where they would sacrifice bulls in these things. And my brain goes to, how did they get the bulls in these? Because they open at the top. Like, these things are huge. I'm talking like 8 foot tall.
Yeah.
Like, how did they get the bulls in there? There's no door. It's just a big old plate on the top of it holding it down, right? So this guy said that that's where they stored mana in these huge things. So the science behind these, they've done analysis. They've done laser analysis. The 90-degree angles created in these boxes is so precise. They've done laser analysis, and it is exactly 90.0000 degrees every angle on every box in the granite.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. And just, they look at that and they're like, so there was some tech that we just have lost. You know, we've either lost it in the stories or, you know, something happened where we lost the tech that, you know, we just don't understand how they did that.
For real though, I'm looking up
Yes,
the
look at how big these boxes
translations. Jeez, that's crazy.
They're huge.
Yeah, save that and post it in the Discord.
Yeah.
Depending on the translation, he took the golden calf the people had made and burned it in the fire. Then he ground it to powder, scattered it on the water, and made the Israelites drink it. And so depending on the translation, it's either burned it in the fire and then ground it to powder, or burned it in the fire until it became powder.
Yeah.
So it depends on
Even
the translation.
then,
So I'd have to look at I'd have to
Isn't
look
that
at the
crazy?
original translation to figure out exactly what it says. But yeah.
But
that's kind of crazy.
It's one of those stories that you've heard your whole life, so much so that we had to look it back up just to be like, does it really say that?
Right.
You know,
yeah.
and because gold, that doesn't work. Like our understanding of science, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
You know, but it doesn't disprove it. That's the thing, which I love.
Right.
It doesn't prove it as, oh, then the Old Testament this isn't true. It almost proves more that some of these stories are true.
Right.
You know, that the tech and the you know, the alchemy and even the interventions in the Old Testament maybe are true. I thought that was interesting.
I'm going to look up the original language. So he took a calf with which to burn fire. Okay, so the original language says he burned it with fire. So Vayisrof Beesh Valyitchan Asher, which is burn it with a fire and ground it to ash. Lit it with fire and ground. So it's a combination of lit it to fire and ground. But anyway.
But wild, right?
That is wild.
Especially if like monoatomic gold is that big of an electrical conductor.
Right.
Like
also, why make them drink it? That's the weird thing.
Well, that's the thing. Like, so supposedly when I looked it up on ChatGPT, it said that there are people that still drink it or still like consume it because they supposedly and then nothing's been proven like in any kind of health anything, but they think it like helps with youth.
Dude,
and helps with a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, even looking up the definition of the word, it's talking about it's grinding up grain into flour, and then in numbers it depicts Israel's daily dependence upon God's manna.
Well, and even they
about gathered it and ground it in hand mills and crushed it to mortar. And so even talking about this, it's talking about the term comes from them grinding up the manna.
Yeah. And that's how they survived for the 40 years in the desert was the manna that God provided. You know, were they burning the bushes and eating the acacia trees and
the ash
and
but
things
even think
that?
of the practical, like if you're thinking like okay, So if manna, so you're grinding up what's coming from God, but they created, so back then though, they believe that like things that were the food that was dedicated to idols was tainted.
Yeah.
And so now we take the idol, the literal golden calf, and we're going to grind it up and then eat the thing that was.
But it was a purification thing. The turning it into the monoatomic gold was that purifying it and making it, taking the idolatry out of it. You know what I mean? The bad part out of it. I don't know.
This segment's taking longer than I even thought it would because my brain is stuck on it from my. Oh
man, I love when I throw something new in your brain and it makes you think. I love it. Love it.
But I've never heard
of monoatomic gold and monoatomic anything.
Yeah. And
I had never even heard that term. And when I started looking into it, like it's a legit thing. Like people still to this day consume it. And it supposedly has these health benefits and things like that. I've never even heard of it.
What does it even say of if you look it up? That it was a symbolic punishment for idolatry, forcing them to ingest the very object of their sin. But even that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't know.
But that still doesn't make sense to me. I mean, this is just our theories as to why.
Yeah, and this said, and when I looked it up in some history stuff, they said that historically the priests and the kings and things would consume the manna because it was, it would give them, certain levels of divinity and it had health benefits and things like that. But that was like a legit thing. And they weren't storing it for consumption. It had other uses.
Right.
Like the electrical things and stuff like that. But because it did all these cool things, they thought it had some kind of divine power behind it.
Oh. So this is saying that it was part of the Mosaic atonement ritual to see who was guilty and who was innocent.
Oh.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into this a little bit more because that's weird. Either way, one way or the other.
This might deserve another talk.
I say beyond everything that you said.
I was not expecting to go there when I started looking at the Valley of the Kings.
Beyond everything that you talked about with the Valley of the Kings, I am noticing that I'm stuck on. Why did you make him drink the?
Why were they drinking the manna water?
the ground up calf water, because it doesn't it's in every vein of thought I have. There's a dead end on it. It wouldn't have made sense for this reason, kind of thing, and because. Why would they need to drink it to figure? And yeah, anyway, all right. And the connection to the rest of the story is crazy. I'm gonna have to re-listen to this. I think.
Yep.
I'm going.
No,
to
like I said, I love when this happens. I love because you're such an expert, and I respect that on such a high level. And I love when I find something that bends your thinking and makes you go, wait a minute, hold on, I got to figure this out.
I'm excited for Commandy to.
Oh, I want to see what Commandy has to say about this. He probably has some.
He probably's got some.
He probably
answers.
already looked into. He's probably
like, bro, I did that. I looked into that.
I wrote a book back in '98. Wrote a book in '98. Go check it out.
Have you read my book? I can tell you haven't read my book yet because that's in chapter 15.
Love that guy, man. Oh man.
All right, this is a long episode. But man, this was a fun one. So with that, we want to plug our Patreon again.
Yeah.
Join the Patreon, even if you join it for free. But like I said, if you give $5 or $10 per month, there's different tiers which unlocks more stuff. The highest tier we're gonna do, like we were talking about this summer, doing like live gym
that'll be a good
stuff. Just for the $10 Patreons. But the $5 gets you all the stuff in advance as well as the extra content. The $10 will get you a few different extra perks that are a little less, a little more fewer and far in between just because of our time commitments. But we are going to give that $10 more.
Yeah.
So definitely. We've got a few other ideas to make sure that it's worth your investment.
Hey, and if you got ideas, something you want to see, let us know.
And if you are a Patreon subscriber, like if you actually pay to be in the Patreon, we will give your suggestions even more time because you're paying to make sure that this show continues.
Yeah. You're part of the team.
Yeah, as is, we've plateaued in our ability to increase the quality, and just with having Patreon, boom, instantly now we're no longer plateaued. You guys are helping us provide better content, and we can't wait to see how this thing continues to grow. So with that, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Patreon. Shout out again to Red, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to all those things. Join the Discord, all of that. All right, okay.
Be your biblically accurate best.
I was just gonna do it.
Yep.
So good, you caught it. All right, okay, bye.
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 In the ancient days of giants, when the earth was wild and free, a creature roamed the valleys, cloaked in mystery. Is he born of angels' blood and man, a Nephilim so tall, or a shadow of the fallen, yet he the maker's call? He's a biblically accurate Bigfoot, with a lineage from the skies. Not a myth or legend, but a truth that never dies. Is he a remnant of the Nephilim, a titan standing tall? Or does he have the word of God upon him, the last to hear the call?